Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Darren. Legion is going to be coming out, but none of us know when, and all of us are anticipating the coming out of the expansion. As I'm playing Warlords of Draenor right now, I see a few things that I guess I'm not too happy about when it comes to rogues, as well as other classes, and some of the things I would love changed within Legion. So I decided I want to throw a video like this together. I want to talk about rogues in this video, and I want to talk about other classes and some of their mechanics in future videos. This game has definitely still more potential to go. World of Warcraft isn't dead by any means yet, and it definitely could be improved upon. A lot more classes could be a lot more fun to play, and mechanics and styles could be more varied, and the dehomogenization of the game, I think it's a great thing. So today I want to talk about some of the rogue changes I would love to see. This is all based on speculations as well as some of the things said by the devs, very minor things said by the devs. So it's a lot of, I guess, wishful thinking for the most part of this video. But I just wanted to throw a discussion video for you guys, see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below after I get the list down. So let's begin. One of the things I noticed is, let's say we're doing 5v5 duels or even arenas. Rogues are all about resets, and if you want to win a duel, let's say within an arena, you're doing some skirms, your partner dies but you killed the other guy, and the only way a rogue will really guarantee himself a win is if he just keeps resetting onto a target. Now resetting isn't a bad thing, resetting helps the rogue tremendously, right? It scores you basically the win. But the idea of resettings is very boring and monotonous after a while. Imagine the situation. Rogue restarts. He opens up on you, cheap shot, into a kidney, into a DFA, drops you to 50% health, but he's not happy by the results. He uses cooldowns or vanishes, gets back into stealth, then saps you up until your stun DR is over. Rogue opens on you again. Cheap shot, kidney, DFA, again drops you to 50% health, but he's not happy with the results again. So he vanishes, goes back into stealth. The rogue opens up third time on you. Can you guess what he does next? He cheap shots, he kidneys, he DFAs, he drops you to 75% health, but he's not quite happy about it. So then he uses burst of speed to run away, and you just couldn't put any doubts on him. He restarts. Guess what the rogue is going to do next? I mean, it's very boring. It's also pretty boring to watch and pretty boring to do it, but a rogue has to do that. He has to reset if he wants to win a duel. Let's say, if you're having like 2v2s arenas or skirmish, and your partner dies, and the enemy's partner dies, and you really want to win this duel that's now a 1v1, you have to reset over and over, but that is literally the way you win. It is a guaranteed win, whether you use subtlety, assassination, or combat to whittle your enemy down while not letting him hit you, while you just hide, re-stealth, then come back at him again. Maybe even let dampening kick in for a while. It's very boring, and a lot of people complain about it. The next thing I would like to see is for rogues to be less opener reliant. Maybe like one spec to be opener reliant, but honestly, combat rogue, subtlety, and assassination, all three of them have a particular opener, and if you fuck up your opener, that's usually a win or a lose in a 2v2 situation in arenas. If I don't use Shadow Reflection and if I mess up my Shadow Reflection opener as a rogue, we are losing against this warrior healer team. If I get it right, we are winning against this team. Maybe like if one spec of rogues was more opener reliant, but all three of them are so opener reliant that it's not even funny. On top of it, the opener reliance, if it were less opener reliant, then the whole idea of, oh, demon hunters can see rogues in stealth so they'll counter them, it'll be less of an issue for rogues altogether. And then we can just focus on playing our spec instead of just, how do we open on a target? Oh, we fucked up our opener? Oh, I guess we lose. I mean, which one sounds more fun to you? The next thing I would like to see is dehomogenization of rogues. And dehomogenization means make them different, don't make them the same. Let's take mages for example. All three of them have a primer starting cast spell in PvP. Arcane mages use Arcane Blast, Frost mages use Frostbolt, and Fire mages for the most part use Scorch. So that's three different spells, but basically it's a starting cast spell. But then the playstyle. Frost mages are all about root your target, hit him with as many Frostbolts, build up the Icicles, burst them with the Ice Novas. Arcane mages, build up the Arcane charges and burst onto your target, while CCing them the whole time. Fire mages, you run around, you cast spells, you get crits give you more abilities, and you kind of stack abilities together, the spells and dots and everything just stacked on top of one another onto an enemy. All three different spell mechanics. A Frost mage has a polymorph and a stun, A Fire Mage has a Polymorph and a Dragon's Breath. Arcane Mage doesn't have anything but a Polymorph, but he can spell steal a bunch of spells off of an opponent and literally keep himself alive. He can use his mana more effectively than other specs of mages. Mages are a great example of class that just is completely different from one another. A Warlock is another example. A Hunter is a terrible example. But Warlock and Mages got dehomogenized pretty well, and they are so different from one another. I would like to see it for Rogues. All we have is a common point builder, be it Sinister Strike, Hemorrhage or Backstab, or Mutilate. Then all of them have an Eviscerate of sorts, be it Eviscerate or Envenom. All of them have a Slice and Dice, whether passive or active. All of them have a dot, whether it be Rupture. For combat rogues, they don't have Rupture. But for the most part, we have a common point builder and we have exactly the same finishes. And the mechanic is the same. Build up Slice and Dice, put dots into your opponent if you have any, stun them, burst them. The only difference is how you burst. And I would like to see for them to be severely different. I would like to see rotations to be completely different. I would love to be spells and mechanics to be completely different. It'll be fine if they still use energy and combo points, but the way you build them, or how you use them, or how you structure them together, how you weave everything together into dealing damage, I would like to see that changed. And that's probably the biggest thing on the list here. Now I want to talk about specs specifically. First one I will talk about is Subtlety, because I don't play Subtlety that often. So I want to kind of get all the funny ideas off my chest and onto you guys, and you guys can tell me whether you like them or not. And all the guys that played in Subtlety Rogue for a while, you guys will be able to tell me whether this is something good or maybe not. First, I would like to see more flexibility for stealth for Subtlety. I think it'll be more fun when you can just weave in and out of stealth. If you make the openers less of an importance for rogues, then Subtlety could definitely be a spec to weave in and out of stealth. We've already seen this mechanic done with Feral Druids who use Incarnation. You can use Prowl while in combat, and you can use that to dodge certain CC, or dodge certain spells from enemies, or dodge certain mechanics in PvP. And I think it'll just make the spec a little more unique if you can do that at all times, and it'll especially separate it from other specs of rogues. Another thing I would like to see is more of a sustained damage for Subtlety. Now in PvE, in raiding, Subtlety has great sustained damage, and I've tried it before. It's awesome. The Mortar Strike mechanics, the bleeds and everything, it's great. It has one of the coolest and most fun and, I guess, active and interactive mechanics in terms of sustained damage. But for PvP, it's kind of garbage. And I would like to see some sort of a good sustained mechanic in terms of PvP mostly. It's fine if Subtlety is all about burst, but I would like to see for the spec to just be able to use some sort of sustained damage. I don't want it to be just a one-trick pony. All you do is burst, and then you kind of just twiddle your thumbs for about a minute, and then you win until you burst. I mean, it's fine if you're all about like setups, like Rupture, get Slice and Dice up, Sanguinary Veins, make sure you have full energy. But I would like to see some sort of sustained damage mechanic outside of cooldowns. The way I would want the spec to be played in Legion is to be, you kind of ambush your opponent like, surprise! And then you put them on tilt. And what I mean by that is you exploit the weaknesses when you ambush them. Kind of like how a ninja that's the way Blizzard described it. When a ninja ambushes a target, the target is surprised and confused, and you exploit that surprise and confusion by attacking the weak points, and then you make him play worse, and you maybe slow him down, and you maybe make their casts slower, maybe you make their auto attacks slower, maybe you even disable them in a non-CC way for a bit, non-stun like card control ability way. Something unique like that. Just put your opponent on tilt and just put them on the back foot and keep them on it. I think that'd be a really cool way to play the spec altogether. Next one is Assassination. I have a bit more experience with this spec. Blizzard described it to be the dot-based spec compared to the other two. I would love it to be an Affliction Warlock with daggers. Simple as that. I would also want to see more poison-themed abilities, like maybe a poison smoke bomb, like where your smoke bomb actually has a poison effect as well. Maybe make it so like casters can't cast in it and melee can't hit, because it's like some sort of paralyzing poison. Maybe even just more abilities that replace your basic ability names. Just give it more poison theme. Basically, I would want the spec to be the kind of spec that dots the world and watches it melt, with a lot of poison flavor to it. I think that'd be cool. I think it'd be unique to have a melee spec that's all about dotting your targets, like multiple targets, not just one, and then watching them all melt. A lot like an Affliction Warlock. Now combat, the spec that I have the most experience with. Blizzard described them in Legion to be a lot like pirates or swashbucklers. Now my question is, do we get guns? Do we get bombs? Do we get a peg leg? Do we get a ship? Make the enemy walk the plank instead of an eviscerate? Do I have a parrot for a pet that sits on my shoulder and I can send it at my enemy? I would like anything piratey based. Maybe even if I just throw salt water in their eyes instead of like dust from blind. Anything cool pirate based is what I would like to see. Another thing is the flavor text for Combat Rogue always spoke for it to be a toe-to-toe based spec. Is that still a thing? Is that gonna be a thing for the spec altogether? I would like to see it to be a 1v1 type of spec. Maybe like the more you fight one target, a lot like that of monks back in Mists of Pandaria. As they fight an enemy, they eventually develop even more parry chance against the enemy as well. They'll get maybe like 5%, 10%, 15% parry chance, and they could even glyph it so they could parry spells. So that's what happens when they fight one target, like for a while back in Mists of Pandaria. So maybe give this kind of mechanic to combat. It might be overpowered, and you know, balancing can only be done. All I'm looking for is just uniqueness to the spec, and this is something I would find pretty cool to see. Basically, I would like to see the spec to be a real dueling 1v1 spec with a parrot on the shoulder. Hell, the parrot doesn't even have to be a pet, just squawk around and be like, Polly wants a cracker. And honestly, I'll be pretty happy. Other cool ideas I had, which are not really part of the list, but I will throw them out in this video. One of the things would be interesting, maybe this will come around, rogues have some sort of a magical affinity. If you think of abilities like Cloak of Shadows or Shadow Reflection, they're using like this shadow magic in order to counter enemies. Cloak of Shadows to counter spell effects against you, and Shadow Reflection to bring your shadow to fight for you. Possibility for a rogue magical affinity would be pretty cool. Would be pretty cool also to see a ranged build. We have Shuriken Toss and Deadly Throw. What if you used a couple more talents and skills and combinations, and maybe even a glyph to make a rogue more of a ranged build if they decide to do so? That'd be pretty fun in Battlegrounds to snipe out enemies from a distance, and maybe like you lose a lot of your mobility in turn. More builds, I would like to see a lot more builds. Maybe like tanky Healy build, more CC related, more of a hit and run style, but that's just, I wouldn't even be able to break you guys down in like mechanically what abilities would we have, what abilities we could have, but it would be really cool. So like to be able to play more than one type of rogue, more than one build. Maybe like tanky Healy so you can defend bases better. Maybe hit and run style so you can just go from healer to healer, taking them down. Maybe CC related, so all you do is line up CC for your friendlies, and then you watch them burn the enemies down, and then you're like, yes, I did that. I helped line that up. Would be really cool and exciting. So this is my list, and this is the end of the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. My name is Dalren. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments. I really want to know what you guys think. Hope you guys having a great one. I'll see you guys in another video.